This ain't about what you did. It's about who you are.
You're gonna get older, you're gonna understand why I did what I did.
I'm never gonna understand none of this. I'm damn sure never gonna understand you.
Business is booming.
You're done. Out of business.
You don't decide when I'm done.
Now, when it comes to the mid-season break in every Power season, I do like to take a day or two to just watch the season back, look at all the clues, the character growth, where we are with certain storylines, and basically what's to come from one of the most explosive Power seasons we've seen in a while. We've got our Raq and Kanan's first real what the fuck kind of moment with Unique's death, which will completely flip the chessboard upside down. But a lot of people still are questioning whether he's alive or dead, even after we saw Ronnie leaving him at the bottom of a ditch. There was also Joey Badass's exit interview and Sasha Penn posting about his death on social media, but there are still a lot of people who refuse to believe he is gone. Maybe because of what we've seen in the Power universe before, but also because Unique was a huge fan favourite. Now, I'm in the camp who firmly believes that Unique is gone, because even though he was a huge fan favourite, sometimes you do have to wonder, did he have much story left? You can actually argue a case where he probably did, but you also have to do shit like this in order to progress the storyline about Kanan's arc, because after all, it is Raq and Kanan. So we're just gonna have to wait and see what they do in episode 6 and how they decide to show us. You know, will they have a funeral, will his body be found, and will they basically confirm what a lot of people have been questioning? Now, with that being said, in this video we're going to be dissecting every teaser clue from episode 6 onwards, from the official trailer and season trailer, to paint the picture of a few plots and storylines, because there is a lot of mystery and unpredictability going into the second half, which is how we know we are in for one crazy finish. But hopefully this breakdown will give you guys a better understanding of where we are heading into the home stretch for Raq and Kanan Season 3. Now let's start with where we are with Kanan. At this moment in time, he isn't accepting handouts from Raq. He set up his own weed operation through Paul's courier system with Simrad as his weed connect. But I wouldn't be surprised if his little operation is shut down, just as it was beginning to pick up speed, because of all the issues with Paul, and somebody did call the police on Famous, which I personally believe was Raq, because let's not forget, she does have a history of snitching. So I wouldn't be surprised if episode 6 is where we start to see Kanan getting in the game with Ronnie. We know that Ronnie got rid of Unique, he'll probably get his work from Juliana, he's using snaps to finance his operation, but now he needs a crew to move that product. So going into the second half, I think we can safely assume Kanan will be moving on to bigger things, which definitely won't go down well with Raq. In the official trailer there were a couple of scenes with Raq meeting Kanan at school, telling him that he's done, out of business, with Kanan's response being, "You don't decide when I'm done." So the lines have definitely been drawn. Something else which I don't think will help their relationship will be when Famous tells him that Raq was the one who put a gun in his bag.
You don't have a problem, Famous.
It's not even like that.
It's exactly like that. I'm scary too, motherfucker.
So after all the lies and manipulations over seasons 1 and 2, as if Kanan needed another reason to hate his moms, but she continues to make move after move to try and get that control and relationship back to where it once was. Now I can actually see this playing out very similar to the way it played out with Tariq, Tasha and Ghost. Although let's remember, Ghost and Tasha were shielding Tariq from their past in the streets, but Tariq saw it as them lying and eventually they came clean about who they were, what they've done in the past, and also the murders that they've had to commit. So coming back to Raq and Kanan, I can actually see a moment in the story where Raq does have to come clean to Kanan, which I feel will be the moment where she needs his help to get rid of Ronnie Mathis. Very similar to how we saw Tasha and Angela telling Tariq to plant the gun in Kanan's car, I can see Raq having Kanan set up Ronnie, because I do feel he'll be the only one who can get close enough to him. As I mentioned before, they do have a lot to talk about, and there will be a few moments where they do butt heads. In the official trailer, we've got Raq and Kanan in a huge argument at Raq's house, with Raq saying, "As you get older, you're gonna understand why I did what I did," with Kanan's response being, "I'm never gonna understand none of this, and I'm damn sure never gonna understand you," which I do kind of agree and disagree with. I know Raq is a lot of things, but let's take a look at Tariq again. The older he's got and the deeper he's got into the street game, the more he is beginning to realize Ghost was right, and now we find him trying to leave the drug game. For Kanan it is slightly different, because he ain't ever been good, he was never raised that way, and some of the things that Raq has done is inexcusable, but will he understand why she did some of the things she's done? Let's wait and see what happens when and if Raq does come clean about her past, which I do feel she'll have to at some point. Only then will we know whether Kanan understands. Now in my opinion, for what it's worth, I think their relationship is irreparable, and Ronnie will make sure he makes it worse. He's going to be poisoning Kanan's mind against Raq, which is very similar to what we saw Kanan do with Tariq in OG Power. So let's see what role Ronnie plays, because I personally believe it will be a huge one. Now this is where we get to Kanan being kidnapped. Initially I actually thought this may have been a scenario which was very similar to what we recently saw play out in 4 Season 2. We had Tommy having D-Mac kidnapped because he was defying his Uncle Tommy's orders, and so my initial thoughts were Raq would have set this up, which could still be a possibility. But there are a few more angles we do need to take a look at. Kanan will be ruffling some feathers in the street. He's got his weed operation, albeit I don't think it's going to last long. So could he create some enemies by entering territory he shouldn't be? There's also the Ronnie Mathis angle. I wouldn't be surprised if Kanan's kidnapped by Ronnie's crew and brought to him where he forces him to move up in the world, and instead of moving weed, he begins to move powder for Ronnie. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Is it Raq making a move to try and stop him from pushing weight in the streets? Has Kanan got himself into beef with another crew? Or could it be Ronnie Mathis? Let me know your thoughts. Now Kanan won't be the only one getting deeper in the game in the second half, so will Raq. Unique's gone, and that means there is a void to fill under Quan. So this was a teaser that was released by Stars where Raq says she's got the players, but he's got the ball. So Raq definitely will be back in the streets, specifically with heroin.
Who guaranteeing your package? Who says shit about heroin?
Now all jokes aside, we know that Raq was never going to last too long in the real world, collecting rent, dealing with dirty cops and cleaning up broken windows. That's not who she is. This is who she is. We've got her with a gun pointed towards someone, which I personally think is Juliana, because this is a beef they do need to come back around to. Joaquin warned Juliana that she needs to worry more about whether Raq was done with her rather than the other way around, and I do feel like Juliana will get what's coming to her because she's punching way above her weight class. Now, from pulling the trigger to being on the receiving end, there's a drive-by on Raq's car that we still haven't seen yet, and if we were to take a logical guess at this moment in time of who could be behind this hit, I would say it's a hit ordered by Ronnie. We all know that Ronnie has this hatred for Raq, which I feel we still need to learn more about. I do think there is a lot of history we need to learn when it comes to both, so let's see what they reveal in the second half. Now, with Ronnie loose in the streets and with Raq getting back in the game under Quan, and also looking over her shoulder, she will need to bring her family together. She needs everybody on the same page, including Lou. So in episode 6, we are going to see Raq come into Cafe Vu to try and make an amends. Whether Lou wants to get back in business with his sister, I'm not too sure. But one thing we can be sure of is, Lou will be flying the same flag until the very end, something which he said way back in season 1. So I can see them putting their differences aside for the greater good, but let me know if you have a different opinion. Now this also brings me on to Lou being on his knees with a gun to his head. I do think they foreshadowed a few things when it comes to his story arc. He gave the backstory of E-Train, who's the Thomas family's father, who just gave up on life, and I can see Lou suffering the same fate and ending up being back on the drink. But in regards to who has a gun to his head, I do feel like it's between two characters, D-Wiz's brother or Scrappy's mom. In episode 3 we saw Lou having a hallucination of both D-Wiz and Scrap, because both of their deaths still continue to haunt him, and I do feel we are in for a return for Scrappy's mom, as well as the introduction of D-Wiz's brother. But whether it ends up in the death of Lou, I'm not too sure. I am on the fence when it comes to Lou's fate. There's some part of me that believes that Lou's story could be coming to an end, because it definitely does seem that way, but there's also a part of me that thinks he'll make it to season 4, so I am on the fence with this one. Now what about Juke? We know she made it into this girls group where she will find a bit of success in the music industry, but how far do the writers take it before they shatter her dreams? Let's wait and see. Let's also see if the military storyline pops back up, because let's not forget, she did sign up for the military along with completing her medical checks, so that's just one to keep an eye on. Now elsewhere with Juke, when we talk about the dynamics of the Thomas family relationships, Juke is definitely going to have a big role in one of them.
He was changing up. He also kicking it with some old heads.
Your mother is good at this work.
So am I.
She's going to tell Raq that Kanan is changing up and he's kicking it with some older heads, which from our understanding is Ronnie and Ishmael snaps Henry. So with that being said, let's not forget what the older Kanan's narration warned us in episode 4.
First rule of the street, and everybody know it. Don't snitch. Don't talk about nothing that ain't yours to talk about.
He hates people that talk about business that ain't theirs to speak about, and that's what Juke will be doing. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this causing a huge issue between them, as well as Aisha, because Kanan will be feeling betrayed. He doesn't have a lot of people that he can trust, and Juke is someone that has been by his side since season 1. We're all wondering what caused this breakdown in Juke and Kanan's relationship, where they went from this in their childhood to this in OG power, and I think we're about to get some answers from a mixture of betrayal and maybe Kanan making his move on Aisha. Now with Marvin and Gerald, who works at The Voice, this is something I went through in a lot of detail in this breakdown, so I will put the link to this down below in the description section. But just as a very quick brief overview, we do have to be mindful of him betraying Marvin by potentially writing a hit piece about him and the Thomas family, or potentially writing a piece that hinders Duke's singing career. He's a journalist, and I do feel like he was fishing for a story, so I do think this scene does paint a picture of a future betrayal. But again, the link will be down below for a more detailed breakdown. I'll also leave the link down below where I went through the trailer for episode 6, where I broke down the angle of Panessa coming to Raq's house, Kanan and Famous' relationship, and Kanan being mentored by Ronnie Mathis. So with all of that being said, that's a breakdown of the teaser scenes we haven't seen yet from the official trailer and season trailer. So hopefully this does give you guys a better understanding of where we are and what's to come. But drop all your thoughts down below, especially when it comes to Raq's relationship with Kanan, Kanan being kidnapped, and who has the gun to lose head. Drop all your thoughts down below in the comment section, and as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.